Did you know that from December this year, here in Australia, anyone under the age of 16 will be banned from using social media? Yeah, we're talking Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Yep, that makes sense. But now, YouTube is on that list too. Yes, this platform. So today we're asking the question, is YouTube actually social media? So are our lawmakers right, or are they misunderstanding what the platform really is? We're going to unpack 13 lucky reasons why YouTube isn't social media, some devil's advocate reasons for why maybe it is, and what this new law means for creators, families, and the future of the web, and maybe even me. All right, here's the background. Australia's Online Safety Amendment, the Social Media Minimum Age Act of 2024, kicks in on December the 10th, 2025. The law says that anyone under 16 can't hold an account on what's called an age-restricted social media platform, and companies can face up to a very unique and specific $49 million fine if they don't take, again, quote, reasonable steps to block minors. Now, originally, YouTube were going to be exempt because it's a video platform, right? It's a video sharing platform. It's not a social network. But the government reversed that idea after data from the eSafety Commissioner showed that Aussie teens report more exposure to harmful content on YouTube than any other app. Yep, that's what's been reported. So now YouTube's in the firing line. But should it be? That is the question. Hi, my name is Pete Johns. This is Studio Live today. My goal around here is to help you create, record, and release your best music. And look, if you're under 16 and watching this right now in Australia and you rely on my GarageBand tutorial videos to help you make music, you might be out of luck pretty soon because I'm not sure how this is all going to work out and how it's going to wash out here. And that's one of the problems and why creators like me and people like you should probably start thinking about this stuff. Not to mention the fact that how does this impact you as maybe an adult in Australia or in other countries? Because guess what? All your other countries, you're watching us. You're watching us and you're seeing what happens here. Right. Let's dive into these 13 reasons. Let's start with the case for YouTube not being social media. Number one, no friends system. So social media is built around sociability. It's built around the fact that I friend people and then I have my group of friends and then I chat and then I communicate with my friends. You can subscribe to channels, but you can't friend people. There is no direct interaction, no way to actually have that same friend-related thing. It's not about connections. It's about content. And now, look, I know there's communities and there's other things that we'll talk about as we go through. But number one, you got to say, like Facebook, yes. Instagram, yes. There's friends, there's follows, there's follow backs, there's ways to have your stuff private or public. YouTube is just, I put video out there, you come watch video, and that is the end of the transaction. Or is it? Let's go on. Number two, no direct messaging. So private DMs were removed years ago. You can't chat with strangers or your mates. There's a huge difference from platforms built around messaging versus those that aren't. So here's the thing. On YouTube, sure, we'll get to it in a minute, you can go into the comments and you can make comments and you can comment about other people and you can @tag people in chats and in other places. But can you actually contact someone directly? No, you can't. And that's a significant difference between the two platforms or between a social media platform versus a platform like YouTube that is just a content library. It is. It's a content library. Number three, it's a content library, not a feed. So you open YouTube to find something, not to see what your friends did today. That's the search and watch, not scroll and refresh. It's not quite the infinite scroll that other platforms are. It's not like your Instagram or your TikToks where it just goes on forever and then you're seeing what your friends are doing. Or is it? Again, I'm going to flip it around. By the way, full disclosure, the opinions I express in this are 100% my own and are not reflecting of anyone or anything. So I'm just giving my opinion. I'm putting the information out there, trying to make it as black and white as I can. But you know what? There's going to be little grey niches. And so you know, many of you know this already, but do I have two teenage daughters? Yes, 13 and 15. Are they thrilled about this? Well, the 15-year-old is because she's going to turn 16 just before this kicks in. Anyway, let's get back to our numbers. Number 4 is Minimal doom scrolling. So shorts are the exception, sure, but the main experience isn't endless emotional churn. It's closer to Netflix than TikTok. So yes, you can binge. Yes, you can keep watching. Yes, you can spend too much time watching too much YouTube. But for the most part, it's not the doom scrolling that we see and the constant short form attention grabbing algorithm heavy stuff. Are YouTube trying to make it that? Maybe. And are YouTube going to sit back and regret some of the things they've done to make themselves more like a social media network? Maybe. Maybe. Number 5, no stories. Stories tried and then they failed. So YouTube tested stories, but then they dropped them back in 2023 because no one cared. In all honesty, I tried these stories and look, people got confused. Some people got upset. Some people were like, if I wanted to know what you had for breakfast, Johns, I'd follow you on Insta. I don't need to know about what's going on in your world and via a story. I don't care. Like the whole idea was, you'll care about the creators that you watch and you want to see behind the scenes stuff and you want to see stories that disappear. No, turns out that wasn't the case. So that's not a social network move. That's a failed experiment right there. Number 6, comments are optional and controlled. So creators can block, review, or turn off comments entirely. There are a lot of videos, there are a lot of people that don't let you see your likes and your dislike counts, that don't let any comments at all, right? So a real social media platform needs open user-to-user interaction. YouTube doesn't. YouTube is, in many cases, a closed-off walled garden. I like to say when people get in my comments and they're like, I got freedom of speech. I can say what I want. And I says, you got freedom of speech. You don't have freedom of consequence. So I'm allowed to remove it. It's not a democracy. It's a petocracy around here. People don't like that. And I don't really know how to respond to that. If you are making an inappropriate comment or even a comment that isn't appropriate for the video, it's going to get deleted. And if you keep doing it, you're probably going to get blocked. And that's not just me. That's from a whole myriad of other places as well. It's one-to-many, isn't it? One-to-many. Number 7, it's one-to-many communication. A YouTuber, like me, talks to an audience, not a peer group. It's broadcast media, not friendship loops. So it does differ from that. And you could argue that maybe TikTok are having this same argument right now and saying, look, we're not really social media either. They're closer to it, but maybe they're not. Maybe they have some of these same arguments that we could have here. And dare I say that, where does this end? Where do you stretch this out to? Discord servers? I mean, Discord servers have had their problems with content and the things there. What about web pages? I mean, the thing is that YouTube is also a website. I don't know if they've kind of thought this through, but you can just go to youtube.com on your browser. How's this going to work in your Safaris and your Googles, Chromes? Anyway, we'll get to that. Number 8, subscriptions aren't friendships, right? When you subscribe, the creator doesn't subscribe back. Unless, of course, you go down the sub for sub route, which I please don't do sub for sub. I'm not going to go off on the tangent today. If you've watched me before, you know why I'll tell you that sub for sub is bad. It just is. Just trust me on this one. There's no mutual connection. It's television 2.0. It's an updated version. In fact, the vast majority of people these days are even watching YouTube on their TV. YouTube is the most watched TV in the world. Now, just let that soak in for a sec. It is bigger than Netflix. It is bigger than Disney Plus. It is bigger than Amazon Prime. It's bigger than network television. It's bigger than broadcast TV, cable TV, satellite TV. It is the one biggest location. More hours of YouTube are watched on TVs than any other service. And think about that for a moment. How you locking down your TV? You're logging into your accounts? Does mum and dad have to have a PIN number on the YouTube app on every smart TV? Because let's be honest, every single smart TV has been sold with YouTube on the remote. So the kid's like, I can't watch YouTube. Wait, mum and dad have gone out. YouTube on the TV, watching Mr. Beastie. Yeah, it's going to happen, isn't it? Number 9, identity is optional. You can watch anonymously without a full profile, right? You can go in there. Try doing that on Instagram or X or TikTok or places. You can still do it, but YouTube really is designed to be like, they would love you to log in so they can serve you up ads, but they'll still just let you watch it and serve you up ads when you're not logged in. And this is where I think is going to be a problem, is that how are we going to address the fact that people can just go to youtube.com, not sign in and start watching content? I mean, it wouldn't be the adult content. I guess that's the one thing. Maybe that's the thing. But this is all the things that YouTube. I wouldn't really want to be YouTube right now. Just saying. And look, it's YouTube that face the consequences. Me as a YouTuber, and my kids and other people's kids and parents, they're not liable for this stuff. They basically, all the Australian government have said, this all comes down to the platforms. We are going to hold the platforms accountable. We'll talk more about that in a moment. So number 10, search first, feed second. So most sessions start with a search bar, not a social feed. Not many people, I mean, maybe this is changing over time, but when I go to YouTube, I want to find something. I'm usually looking for something. I want to watch the show that I've gone to watch. I want to watch a creator that I want to watch. I want to find out what's happening with the people. And maybe I'm weird, maybe because I go to my subscriber feed. There are folks who will probably just go to the home tab or the home page on their phone or on their computer or platform and just go through their feed and start watching what it tells them to. Or they've got alerts on and they just watch whatever they're alerted to. But again, it's search. It's primarily built and based around search. It is Google for video. It is, in fact, the second most popular search engine in the world behind Google. And I've got to say that TikTok's probably coming up there now because I know a lot of younger folks use TikTok to search for things. They want to find out about something, a how-to, a piece of information, the news. They go to TikTok. But hey, I do that on YouTube. If I want to find out some news about something or someone, I'll go look for a YouTube video first. And then if I have to read a text article, that's way down the list. Number 11, creator-centric design. The platform is built for creators, monetization, analytics. It's not for chatting. It's not for having social contact. Now, social contact becomes part of it with things like live streams, with things like this. There are probably people, or at least I hope there are, people in this live premiere in the chat, having a chat right now. Is that social? Yeah. Hard to argue it's not, is it? The same on the comment section. Someone's in the comment section right now saying, I can't believe Australia is so backwards and you're ruining things for everyone. And then there's someone else in there going, what do you know about this? We need to protect. Won't someone please think of the children? Do you know how much impact that social media has had on the mental health of our kids? Both valid points, but that they are having a conversation. It's just in a different way than getting in each other's DMs or on each other's pages or throwing sheep at each other or poking you. Remember Facebook when you could throw sheep and poke people? It was weird, man. Number 11 is publisher style moderation. So we are a publisher. We're bound by a lot of rules, copyright strikes, demonetization, moderation. It makes YouTube more like a broadcaster than a social free-for-all. There's a lot of stuff you can get away with on platforms like TikTok and to a lesser extent meta platforms like Instagram and Facebook than you can on YouTube. Trust me on this. I'm currently under a cloud of a warning because on an unlisted members-only live stream, I showed 5 minutes of a free broadcast of a cricket match because I was explaining cricket to some of my subscribers and I was showing them the local game. It wasn't even an international match and it was a free broadcast that was on cricket.com.au. But I broke the rules and there's consequences for that. So if I'm doing things, and look, we had the whole copper thing. If I'm putting content out there that's inappropriate for children and marking it for kids, guess what? I get my channel demonetized and then eventually removed. That happened to a whole, but remember prank channels? Yeah, prank channels have basically disappeared from YouTube because they can't be monetized. They're aimed at kids, but if they tag them as kids, they get in trouble. So they have to tag them as adult. And I don't know about you, don't know too many adults that want to watch prank videos. Well, there's probably some out there. And number 13, the final one here, is algorithm serves content, not people. It recommends videos you'll watch, no posts from people you know. So, and you can say, look, the difference between a post and a video is negligible, right? If it's a big text post with a big picture and it's some controversial issue, is that any different from a video with a talking head like me talking about a controversial issue? Maybe not. But again, that's an entertainment engine, isn't it? It's not a social network graph. Or is it? I don't know. This is the thing. This is why when I did this, I'm like, right, I'm going to do a video on all the reasons why YouTube's not social media. And guess what happens when you start digging in the weeds? Yeah, you start finding some more things to talk about. So if you put all that together, YouTube feels more like a global video library than a social media network, right? If TV meets Google, not Facebook with videos. So, yeah, TV meets Google. It's like searchable TV as opposed to Facebook, which was a social media platform that they just slapped videos on because, hey, video's popular. Let make videos. All right. Okay, let's put on our devil horns now and play devil's advocate. So I have 10 points here. So, 13 to 10, do we say it wins? Yeah, sure. But let's get into this. Time for a bit of fairness. Let's flip the record and play the B-side, shall we? So number one, comments and chats are social. I know it. Look, I was trying to justify it before, but people do connect through comments, replies, and live chat. There's genuine community interaction. To me, the difference here is that the devil's advocate of the devil's advocate is that it is all out of the open. It is all public. It's not direct messaging, and it's very hard. The power of the community. So especially in positive communities like the one that you're in right now, the community will stand up if someone is being mistreated. It's actually not a good thing, but it's actually protected by other people in the community. And folks have made good friends with folks. So yes, I guess there is some sociability, social adjacent stuff there. Number two, it's user-generated content. So every social media app thrives on user uploads. So YouTube is the biggest of them all. So yeah, as opposed to, even though YouTube will say we are just like broadcast TV, but it's user generated. And if you've been down them, haven't you? You've been down those rabbit holes, which you didn't even know you were interested in a topic, and then suddenly you're watching videos. And are you being influenced? And if you had a small squishy brain of a teenager, would you be more influenced? That is the question. Number three, algorithmic engagement loops. Up next, autoplay, shorts. Yep, it's digital crack. Let's just call it what it is, right? It's the same behavioral loop that regulators worry about TikTok. The exact same thing. They don't want people to be in this doom scrolling, auto-playing, continuous loop where there's always something to watch. And it's not necessarily what you've chosen to watch, it's what it's chosen for you to watch. Number four, creator communities. Channels like Studio Live Today. We have fan bases, inside jokes, community vibes. It's classic social behavior. Look at what goes on. The memes, the emojis, the banter. It is social behavior, which makes it really hard for me to hand on heart say black and white, there is no social media element to YouTube because I chat with you folks on YouTube. All right, subscribing is following, right? So clicking the bell is just another way of following someone, right? That's social media 101. And it's if Instagram, because I said before that Instagram, you have friends, but guess what you have more of? Followers. Yeah. I bet you many of you are following your favorite celebrities. They're not following you back. It's just like YouTube, isn't it? They're sharing their little short Instagram reels and videos and posts, and you're watching them. YouTube, is it any different that you're watching my stuff? I even have a feed called the Community tab where I can post photos and links and little messages and shout outs. I mean, if you want to say that you're not a social media network and a community, maybe don't have a community tab. Just saying. Number six, social features still exist. Yeah, so the community post, the live chat, even the shorts, they're forms of social interaction. It's just through content, right? It's content-based social interaction. And we are in a world now where video and audio are like listening to podcasts, watching videos. They can actually be things that we interact with as opposed to just watch. Number seven, harm profiles similar to other social apps. Yeah, according to Reuters and the eSafety Commissioner, YouTube is the number one platform where Australian kids report seeing harmful or distressing material. That is what it is. That is what has been reported as the case. Now, is that 100? What's the sample size? What's the methodology of that? Is that because there's more YouTube? Like I said, YouTube is the number one place that people watch stuff on their TV now. So, is it just a numbers game? Is it by ratios or percentages? Is it per capita? All of that stuff really hasn't been delved into and revealed. But I get it. And again, won't someone please think of the children? It's why this got pushed through, and it's why it's coming to a country near you soon. Because guess what? It's not popular for politicians to do. Vote against something that could reduce harm to kids. I get it. It's politics. You got to be on the side. If you're not, you're basically saying, I want children to be exposed to harmful content. It's not what you're saying, but it kind of is. Right? Okay. Number 8, statuses, likes, badges, social clout, the XP, the leaderboard that they've put in place. Creators chase numbers, don't they? Subscribers, views, likes, that social validation in an algorithmic form. So, yeah, and look, I've spoken out on this stuff lately. I don't love all this. I think the vanity metrics are dangerous. I think that YouTube pushed them in your face too much. They've done little things like removing the dislike count from people's videos, but guess what? I can still see the dislike count as a creator. You just can't. So yeah, there's a lot of things there that are being added in. And again, not victim blaming here, YouTube, but you've added in these things. If you were like YouTube 1.0 that didn't have shorts and that didn't have this community interaction side and didn't want to be just like Twitch or just like TikTok or just like Instagram, you'd probably be okay. But the more they scratched the surface, the more they realized how many things in YouTube there are now that just are social media. All right, number 9, cross-platform sharing. Every video has share buttons to X, to Facebook, to Reddit, to WhatsApp. YouTube feeds other social platforms and vice versa. So even though social platforms don't want you to leave and go to other places, creators sure do. So why not subscribe to my newsletter? You've probably done that. Click the gear guide link. I mean, do all those things. They're in the description. But yeah, we tell you constantly, click this, do this, engage with us here. So we're using YouTube as a gateway to move you somewhere else. And look, that's just what happens. We share across different platforms. Number 10, team behavior says it's social. For most teenagers, watching and commenting on YouTube together is socializing. It's a new group hangout, same vibes, different medium. And like it or not, I see this. I see this with my kids. I see this with other kids. If I'm out and about, let's not focus on my kids. Let's talk about other kids so I don't feel bad. But if I'm out and about, I'll see groups of teenagers and they are sitting around on their phones sharing videos. I'm on the bus and there was a group of boys, 13, 14, and they're watching videos and they're sharing it. And look, I looked over their shoulder and they weren't watching anything inappropriate, but they could have been. And maybe if they weren't in a public setting, they would have been. We don't know. I mean, there's things like, there's the rise of the whole masculine culture and the alpha male culture and the everyone should bulk up with protein, man. There was a great episode of King of the Hill recently with Diedrich Bader that was all about that, all about the online sort of cults of alpha male. Oh, yeah, it's got to be like it used to be, men rule. And it's quite gross. So that happens. So even if YouTube doesn't have DMs and friends list, it still shapes social behavior, right? Attention and even identity. I bet just some of you love the identity you have because you've chosen the communities that you love to hang out with on YouTube. And that's not a bad thing if you're a consenting adult. Is it a bad thing if you're an influenceable teenager with a squishy brain, though? That's the question being asked, right? So here's the big question, though. The $1 million question is, how the heck does Australia plan to actually enforce this? The problem with the reason that banning is usually unsuccessful is it usually doesn't work. So how is it going to be? This is where it gets interesting because writing a law is one thing, but enforcing it, that's a whole different story. Australia's e-safety commissioner and the Department of Infrastructure have released some details on how they plan to actually make this work. So the law itself, it's all part of the Online Safety Amendment Act we talked about at the start. It modifies the original Online Safety Act, which was only written in 2021. And this is the problem. The laws are having to change pretty quickly. Like there's some laws that are the same law, like privacy laws here in Australia were developed in 1988. And there wasn't another amendment for about another 20 years. Whereas now, things are changing so quickly and rapidly, the laws have to move quickly. I don't know if you know this about the legal system and politics. Things don't move fast. All right. So platforms must take reasonable steps to stop under 16s from having accounts and prove it to regulators. So reasonable steps means age assurance. That doesn't mean demanding every user uploads a driver's license. In fact, the government have said they want minimally invasive checks. So not ID scans for everyone. So that's a good thing. That's good news because some jurisdictions, and look, Australia aren't the first. There's been some US states, there's been some in the UK, there's been some other countries that have already done this. And what we've learned from it is that getting third parties to scan your driver's license or passport is an absolute nightmare. It's not the way to do it. So if you've got a social media platform in Australia, and like me, I was having this conversation with my kids yesterday, and I said, actually, I joined Facebook in 2008 and Instagram in like 2011. So I think I've been on those platforms so long now that I couldn't be. I had to, if I was at least 3 or 4 when I signed up, I'm definitely at least 18 or 20 by now because I've been using it so long. So I think there'll be some things like that. So how will they actually do this? They're pushing a risk-based layered system. Sounds delicious. Using existing data like account info, behavioral patterns, or device settings to estimate age. If a user's age looks uncertain, the platform can escalate to stronger checks like facial age estimation or ID verification. So it can go down the ID path. By the way, just pausing on that one, I love the facial age estimation. Like, oh, is that going to mean that like those old age masks are going to like go? Everyone will be going to like party shops to buy those realistic masks that make you look like Albert Einstein or something. So that'll be the next thing. Any data collected for this purpose must be destroyed afterwards and can't be used for advertising. Promise? Oh, we promise. So yeah, that's the problem. I don't know if you know this about data, but deleting it forever, once it is on the internet, once it's in someone's system, it is there. And making sure that platforms have systems in place to destroy it and definitely not sell it or use it for advertising is going to be difficult to police and difficult to administrate, right? So this approach comes from the Age Assurance Technology Trial, where they tested a range of solutions, and the verdict was technically feasible, but messy. Accuracy, privacy, cost, and evasion. VPNs, fake IDs, Albert Einstein masks. They're all huge concerns, aren't they, right? The enforcement reality. Platforms that don't comply could face fines up to, again, that very specific number, $49 million. But reasonable steps is deliberately vague. It's about effort and process, not perfection. So YouTube won't be fined for every user under 16. But failing to show that they took action and have real measurable precautions, that's where they're going to come into trouble. And not just YouTube, but every other platform is in the same boat. So, implications, what does it mean? So for under 16s, this likely means that you can still watch YouTube without an account, but you might lose the ability to subscribe, comment, or upload. There's some very unhappy 15-year-old YouTube stars in Australia right now that are very scared of what's going to happen. But again, what's to stop them getting their parents to be the account holders and then uploading it? Look, there's specific things around people under the age of 18 when it comes to actual kids being on YouTube. Non-adult people on YouTube is a slippery slope, especially if they are making content for other people that are underage. That's a whole different topic for another day that I'm not an expert on. For creators like me, what does this mean? A loss of younger audience interaction. Just is. Possible restrictions on comment sections or analytics, and potentially big changes on how educational or family channels operate. Yeah, here in Australia, we have a very, very famous family channel called the Norris Nuts. My children were big into it, and look, they were sweet, they were innocent, they were a bit weird and wacky because any family that chooses to document their life 24/7 on the internet is a bit wacky. Let's just tell it like it is. But they were very, very successful. And this will limit the ability for those sort of channels to exist in the future, at least in the way that they are right now, because a lot of it was about interact with us, subscribe to us, hit the bell. There are channels that literally do things. We're like, okay, kids, everyone hit the bell and hit subscribe. We're going to just wait for 30 seconds. And they do this giant promo thing. And they basically guilt them. They're like, your friends are doing it. You'll be left out. You want to be part of the crew, part of the crowd, part of the cool people. If you don't subscribe, that's the worst thing you can do and people will hate you. It wasn't quite that, but you get my gist. So that won't be a thing anymore at all. So, and before, the copper stuff was very much focused at kids under 13. Now this is going to really focus on that 13 to 16-year-old demographic and how we can protect them. And look, if you come away from this and your comment is, Pete, you clearly don't care about your kids or other kids. You clearly want children to be exposed to damaging social media and content that's going to warp them for life. No. And I don't have all the answers because I'm not a perfect parent either. And I don't know what the best solution is for this. I just wanted to put it out there. I wanted to put all the information out there because, again, this is only relevant for Australia now. But guess who's watching? Everyone else. So, sounds simple, right? Ban social media for kids. But the implementation, anything but simple. And, again, globally, every government is watching Australia to see if we can actually pull it off. All right, why does all this matter? So if YouTube is now legally social media, that sets its precedent, doesn't it? Does that mean that Spotify with comments could be next? What about Twitch? What about Discord? What about websites? Like, this is where the slippery slope comes in. Is like what, instead of saying what is social media, I would basically say, ask the question, what isn't social media? Is my blog social media because people can comment on it? When I put stuff on my website, there's like a little comment section there. Is a forum, is that social media? Like if a kid goes to a forum, let's say it's an LGBTQ kid and they go to a forum and they're 15 and they want to chat to other kids about what they're going through because their parents are maybe not aligned with their views on what they should be able to know about themselves. Is that where we're at? Is that the thing? Is a 14-year-old that wants to learn how to create music using GarageBand that relies on, I don't know, Pete John's tutorials, now can't watch Pete John's tutorials because they're deemed as adult content? I mean, I hope not. I don't swear in any of my tutorials. I don't put any content that would be inappropriate. But where are they going to watch it? How are they going to find it? Is 14-year-old that's probably better at creating music than me, but just needs some tips on mixing and mastering, now going to have to go to their mum or their dad or their big brother or big sister or cousin or VPN or fake ID just so that they can watch some Pete John's tutorials? And I know it's the unintended consequences. You want to fix all the bad stuff and it has a flow-on effect to what could be the good stuff, right? Yeah. So the balance between protection and access is tricky. Too strict and you cut off education and creativity. Too loose and you risk harm. Where's the line? It is a hard one. So there you have it. 13 reasons why YouTube isn't social media and a few reasons why maybe it kind of is. Maybe YouTube's not social media in the Facebook sense, but it's definitely socially influential, isn't it? Yeah. It's the world's biggest classroom, stage, and hangout all in one place, which is why I love it and why this worries me. The danger of lumping it under social media is that we might oversimplify and risk losing that nuance that we have on this platform we call YouTube. The danger of ignoring it, leaving kids unprotected in the same rabbit holes that we as adults fall into. If there's adults, if there's people that are 30 and 40 and 50 years old and 60, 70 and 80 years old that are being influenced, that are thinking all these horrible things are happening in the world, that are believing the AI slop, that are reading the fake news and believing it, that are listening to people who are preaching things that are simply incorrect. Yeah, do I need to talk about flat earth? Anyway, as always, somewhere in the middle lies the truth, doesn't it? I'd love to hear your thoughts, though, and I'm sure you have some or many. Ironically or unironically, drop into the comments section here, participate in the live chat, join me on a live stream in the future, follow me on Instagram or Facebook, TikTok, all the places, as long as you're 16 or older if you're here in Australia. I don't want to be part of you breaking the law. Anyway, until next time, folks, please be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, keep creating, and if you haven't already hit the like button, do that. Subscribe, hit the bell, ring the bell on YouTube, do all the YouTube things. It's not social media, I promise. Bye for now.